Hi folks, Florida Man here. Today I'm bringing you an alliance overview video. Specifically, we'll be discussing the Top of the World alliance that forms between England and Russia. I think it would be fair to say that it's one of the rarer alliances in diplomacy, and we'll discuss why, and whether that's justified or not, along with how this alliance works, what the pros and cons of this alliance are, how long it typically lasts, and whom it benefits most in execution. There are two ways the Top of the World alliance tends to form. One is that England and Russia get together early on, discuss how they can work together to sweep south, destroying the powers of East and West by collaborating with each other. And the other is that England and Russia are simply not hostile to each other, and they fall into a rhythm of doing something like this naturally. If England and Russia are working together, you won't necessarily see much sign of it early on. The clue will just be that they don't fight over Scandinavia. But England and Russia don't usually fight over Scandinavia anyway, unless Russia decides to fight England over Norway in 1901, or England decides to work with Germany to attack Russia in 1902. Following the openings, England would then either work with Germany against France, with the implicit understanding with Russia that England and Russia will attack Germany once France is dead or weakened, or England and Russia would attack Germany right away, with the plan that after that England will go after France and Russia will go after Austria and Turkey. By the end game, England should have taken out France and made it into the Mediterranean, and Russia should have taken all of Turkey and Austria. They meet in the middle, each in a highly defensible position hopefully, and the division of centers roughly approximates the east-west stalemate line. You can probably see the problems with this one right away. England and Russia really only have one common enemy, Germany, and after Germany is gone, their friendship doesn't do either one much advantage, except that they each have one front they theoretically don't have to worry about. In practice, one of them will eventually stab the other probably, as with all other alliances, but at least the Top of the World alliance has the advantage that it can last a very long time, because there's usually not much incentive on either side to stab until at least the fall of Germany. Even after the fall of Germany, there aren't that many centers that are available to each side by stabbing the other. At most, England can usually take Sweden and St. Pete from Russia, and if he does that, he typically creates a permanent enemy and might have to worry about defending his German holdings from Russian revenge, as well as possibly leaving raider ships alive in the waters of Scandinavia. It's not much upside, unless you do it near the end of the game and make St. Petersburg one of your last centers when you attain the solo. On the other side, Russia will have trouble building up enough sea power to stab England in the north, without England having the opportunity to observe that Russia is attempting to do so. And unless England is locked in a serious struggle with someone else at the time, England will usually win a naval battle with Russia. I think there's a lot of merit to Russia trying to get some pieces of England, but logistically, the difficulty of stabbing England and winning against them will usually be higher than the reverse, since a successful England will have a massive navy. If Russia does stab England, it should be mainly to take Kiel and any other German centers England might hold. Russia is mainly a land power, so this is a good way for it to cross the stalemate line, but once again it's wise not to do it until late in the game, mainly because that reduces the chances of English reprisals, and because Russian centers in Scandinavia and St. Pete will likely be vulnerable to counterattack. In short, one of the great pros about the Top of the World alliance is that England and Russia can be friendly from beginning to near the end, and form one of the longest lasting alliances in diplomacy. There's no good reason for them to break up. The terrible con of this alliance is that they really can't help each other much militarily except in Germany. If Russia is helping England take Austrian or Italian centers, Russia is doing something wrong. And the same is true if England is helping Russia take French or Italian centers. You don't want to help your ally solo. You want them to help you solo. So there's a good reason why this alliance is rare. It's counterintuitive, and it doesn't have as much long-term use as many other alliances. On the other hand, there's often not that much reason for England and Russia to fight each other rather than helping each other, since their fighting frequently empowers other nations more than it empowers the winner of the fight. Obviously, the big loser in this Top of the World alliance scenario is Germany. The big winner should theoretically be Russia, because once Germany is out of the game, France and Russia might take England apart, although in practice Russia frequently has problems in the east that are more pressing. The other big winner is England, who can theoretically choose, once Germany is dead, between attacking France and going after his Russian ally. Again, there are problems with this, mainly that France is very likely not just sitting on his hands while Germany collapses. He's either attacking England at the same time, or he's getting some of the spoils of the German collapse. Either way, he's probably not a sitting duck just watching England grow to the north of him. Even if England and Germany eliminate France, and then England and Russia attack Germany, that means Italy is probably taking a chance to expand into the vacuum that France left behind. The results of the Top of the World alliance are not very predictable, although again, I am comfortable saying that the big loser is Germany, and the big winners should probably be Russia and England, in that order. From the Russian perspective, unless you, France, and Germany are opening with a sea lion, I think you should always give the Top of the World alliance serious consideration. A strong Russia needs to be a player in both the East and the West, and a key alliance like this can give you that relevance in the West. If it has the added bonus of dividing Germany and England from each other and eliminating the frequent Russian threat of Germany, all the better. From the English perspective, you will frequently have trouble making too many friends in England, and you can't afford to be too picky. Russia is one of the strongest powers on the map, especially on land, where you're weak. If you want to take Germany on, you'd be wise to involve the Russians. In short, I endorse this alliance from the perspective of each of the two nations involved. It really is pretty good, even if it does have its problems. I think it's legitimately underplayed. I hope you enjoyed this alliance overview, and found it helpful. If so, I hope you'll like, subscribe, and check out more Florida Man Diplomacy videos. Please join me in thanking the folks whose names are now on screen, who have gone above and beyond to support the channel, by either contributing to my Patreon or writing subtitles to help bring the channel to an international audience. And feel free to join them in providing that extra support. We also appreciate comments, which boost the videos in the algorithm and make it more likely that fellow diplomacy fans will discover Florida Man Diplomacy. Until next time, Florida Man out.